Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video I will be sharing with you the books that I'm going to read this year. 2021, I'm hoping to read a bit more than I did last year. I do struggle with reading as I am dyslexic and also dyspraxic, which means that I can't quite read as fast as I want to because of the dyslexia, and also because of the dyspraxia I can't really remember what I take in. So reading for me, I don't read as fast as other people. However, I am trying to overcome this and to just try and read more to see how I can possibly come up with some coping strategies for when I read, because it does take a lot of mental effort for me. However, I do not want this to stop me from reading, because the books I want to read are they're a bit diverse, because I want to dip my toes into every kind of book there is. However, these books I've chosen to read because the majority of them, they are very science-based, so they'll be very dense, which will make it a lot harder for me to really comprehend and take in. However, they are still really fascinating to me and I want to learn more about them. And these are books as well that I think that you guys might enjoy and that you might take inspiration from and that you might want to read as well. So let's get into it. So the first book that I will be reading and that I have started reading is this book, Change Your Brain, Change Your Life. This book is written by Dr. Daniel Amen, and Dr. Daniel Amen is actually a psychiatrist based in California, but he has multiple clinics all throughout the United States. I know it's too bad that he doesn't have a clinic in the UK, because I would love to go, and what he specialises in are doing SPECT brain scans. And what they do is that they'll look into your brain, the activity of your brain, to see how your brain is functioning, because he's very much an advocate for looking after your brain, because once you get your brain right, the rest will follow. And he will take the most natural way possible to help his clients overcome their struggles. From what I've read so far, he's given so many case studies of people that he's worked with. He tells stories of how his work with brain scanning has helped multiple people, like thousands of people, even his own nephew. He talks about a lot of what a traumatic brain injury can do to the brain, what toxins can do to the brain, what different types of ADHD is like for the brain, and how different people work best. But like I said, I still need to finish it. I'm only just a little bit through the book. So with a Spec Scan, from what I understand, it registers where the blood flow goes into the brain and what parts of the brain has little blood flow, and the areas that have little blood flow than the rest of the brain, they tend to look like holes in the brain. So here we can see that this is a traumatic brain injury where there's a significantly less amount of blood going to the brain there. And not only does he show this, but he actually tells you or explains how you can prevent this or to make your brain better. So if you can make your brain better, your mental health could get better too, which is always something worth reading about. I will leave Dr. Amen's Instagram down below so you can go check him out to see what you guys think. But for me personally, it makes me wonder why they don't follow his system here in the UK when it comes to mental health, because it could just be so much more beneficial to a lot of people. But also, another one of Dr. Daniel Amen's books that I will be reading is his memory rescue book. And again, it's to do all with the brain. I've not had a chance to look at this yet. However, with my dyspraxia, I struggle with memory a lot. So I thought I'd pick this book up just to find some new tips and tricks on how I could possibly better my memory. because it is something that I do struggle with quite often. So I've tried the whole putting the alarms on, placing reminders here there to remind me, but when it comes to what happened yesterday or the day before and that I don't know, I don't remember, or somebody told me something important like a few hours ago and it's completely let slip, this is where I want to try and get some tips to help strengthen my memory, to see if I can rewire my brain in a certain way to try and remember more. So I'm excited to dive into this one. Moving away from the more scientific books, I will also be reading Think Like a Monk by Shetty. Now, I mentioned before when I did my vision board video that I was actually part of Shetty's Genius group. It is a membership coaching group where every week we get mentored by Jay himself. But I picked this up. I had this pre-ordered, I think it was February last year, because it was due to come out in March, but because COVID hit, it got pushed back to September. So September 8th, this finally came, but I've still yet to read it. If you know anything about Shetty, then you know that he is all about purpose and finding meaning and the gratitude and everything, and really helps you think of things in a different way. So Shetty has a number of videos that you can watch on YouTube. He has a podcast called On Purpose that you can find on almost every and any podcast platform, which I highly recommend you go listen to. I love listening to them, and I always feel like I reflect on my own life and how I can implement these tips, and it's nice to know that other people sort of feel the way that you do when it comes to your life, your friends, your social circle, your parenting, anything like that. There is always somebody that you can resonate on a certain level on his podcasts. So I'm really excited to deep dive into this book. So on the back of the book here, it says, when you think like a monk, you'll understand how to find purpose, how to overcome negativity, how to stop overthinking, why comparison kills love, how to use your fear, why you can't find happiness by looking for it, how to learn from everyone you meet, why you are not your thoughts, why kindness is crucial to success, and much more. And this is something, especially right now, I think it's something we can all do a little bit more of. Learning to understand ourselves a bit better, become more self-aware. So another book that I'm hoping to get into this year is Sapiens by Yuval Noah Harari. I think. The Sapiens, a brief history to humankind. So something about me is actually I have a strong fascination when it comes to where we as humans have come from. I have a morbid fascination with forensic anthropology and everything about the skeletal system. I actually went to college to do forensic science to hopefully then go on to university to do forensic anthropology myself. However, life decided against that and I ended up down a different path. However, I still find all that really, really interesting. And yeah, just these kind of books. I've got a feeling that this might be a bit more of a dense book, which might take me quite a while to get through because it's quite a thick book. But I do have a fascination of how we all came to be. I have a fascination for the different types of humans that have been. So yeah, this will be a very interesting book to read, to see where we come from and how he predicts that we will be in the future. So these last two books are quite different. However, these are more of my personal curiosities, as well as trying to better myself with Dr. Amen, Shetty, and have a better understanding as humans from Yuval Harari. These books reflect the more personal side of me and why I'm choosing to read them. So the first one, which is completely random and I don't expect anyone to really want to read into this or read this at all, but I've bought this book a few years ago and I've yet to read it still, and it is a fictional book called Barty from T. Llew Jones. And the reason I want to read this is actually because I want to start reading more in Welsh. Like I mentioned before, I am bilingual and I completely understand Welsh. I can read Welsh, I can write Welsh. So one thing that's been quite disheartening for me that I've come to realise lately is that my Welsh isn't as strong as what it once was. So I'm trying to go back to my roots and I want to try and read a bit more Welsh. And I'm actually going back to high school or possibly primary school with this book because it's something that we read in school. Another book of his I've got is In Nos on Dywych, and a famous one that any person who went to a Welsh school might know is Tan ar y Comin. So I've sort of stuck to an author that I know. I'm hoping to expand my Welsh library at some point, but yeah, it's just a little fictional book to get me back into reading Welsh. So that is the more personal read for me. And last but not least, this is a book that sort of shows a different side to me, a side that some people might know but you guys might not, and that is a book called Human Design by Karen Curry. And human design is what I've come to discover in the past not even a year. I think it's been about 6 months, and it's something that I find truly fascinating, and it's more of a tool to better understand myself. It goes off the basis of your birth information, so the day you were born and the exact time, and it gives you your authority type, your profile type, what design you are. And for me, I'm a generator. I'm a 6-2 generator with a sacral authority, and just by learning what those mean for me is understanding myself a bit better and how I work better. Obviously this isn't for everyone, but it is a fascinating read. If you are into anything spiritual or spirituality, maybe this is something that you can deep dive into. But as for my spiritual side, my curiosity is currently pulling me in this direction to understand myself more. And with human design, you can look up your chart really easily. If you just like type it in human design charts into Google, it'll bring you up to a couple of websites, and that you can generate them for free. Although if you want to decode it for free, that's another matter, and it can get quite deep and complicated because, as you can see, this is a type of chart that you will get, and you have these 9 centers with all the gates attached, which mean different things, and everybody's completely different. Everyone has a different incarnation cross. However, this is something that I find quite interesting. So I'm trying to deep dive into my own personal charts by reading this book. So yeah, if you are interested in finding out your own human design, I will link down below where you can get a free chart, and it will tell you all the basics that you need to know and that you can then possibly look up yourself. There are also a lot of human design readers on Instagram. I'll link a couple down below as well if you want to follow them. With that said, this is more of a tool to help you understand yourself, help you possibly understand your partner or your children, to see how you best work, because not everybody is designed the same. As we all know, not everyone is the same. We are all our own individuals. So thank you for joining me on this video today. I hope I have given you a bit of inspiration on what to read, but these will be the books that I read this year, hopefully. Possibly get through them all. You can follow me on Instagram. I'll leave my link down below. So comment down below which book you found the most interesting, and if you plan on reading a few books this year, tell me down below in the comments which one you are most excited about to read. Personally, I think these are my top 3 that I will be reading this year, because I believe there is always room to grow as a person, whether you read more books that help you in any way, with reading more self-development books, or whether you just love to read fiction a lot to help with your own writing. Either way, as long as you are still learning and growing, you are bettering yourself every single day. And with that said, I will see you in the next video. Bye!